Dr. Taeho Kim checked his watch for the 5th time in 10 minutes. The diplomatic meeting was running late, and as the only human doctor aboard the Earth in Harmony, he felt out of place among the ship's officers. He should be in the medical bay organizing supplies or reviewing crew health records, not sitting in on first contact negotiations with aliens. "Doctor, you seem nervous," Captain June Park whispered from beside him. Her dark eyes showed amusement, though her face remained serious for the benefit of the Viridian delegates sitting across the table. "Not nervous, just busy," Taeho replied. "I have 3 crew members with stomach issues after trying that purple fruit from the last planet." The captain nodded. "Just 1 more hour. The Viridians specifically requested our medical officer be present. They're very interested in human biology." Taeho glanced at the aliens. The Viridians stood nearly 7 feet tall with slender 6-limbed bodies. Their skin was a translucent blue that showed shadowy outlines of their internal organs. Most striking were their large compound eyes that reflected light like polished gems. They looked like a cross between praying mantises and jellyfish, but moved with surprising grace. The tallest Viridian, Ambassador Gilsep, was speaking through a translation device clipped to what passed for a collar on his shimmering ceremonial garment. "And so we hope this meeting begins a lasting friendship between our worlds," the mechanical voice translated. "We have much to learn from each other." Captain June stood to respond, and Taeho tried to focus. This was important. First contact with a spacefaring civilization meant everything for Earth's future. But his mind kept wandering to his unfinished work and the strange biomedical readings he'd collected from the Viridians during their required health screening. A sudden jolt rocked the ship, sending everyone stumbling. The lights flickered, and a computerized voice announced, "Artificial gravity malfunction in sections 14 through 20. Backup systems engaging." "Everyone stay calm," Captain June commanded, steadying herself against the table. "Engineering. We'll have this fixed in—" Another stronger jolt hit the ship. This time, Taeho felt himself lifted from his seat. His stomach lurched as gravity briefly disappeared. The diplomatic room spun around him. He reached for something to grab, but found only air. The next few seconds happened in slow motion. As artificial gravity suddenly returned, Taeho was in the wrong place, directly above an open maintenance shaft that the crew had been working on that morning. He fell straight down into the dark opening. He heard Captain June shout his name, before pain exploded in his right leg. The sound of bone snapping was unmistakable, a sound no doctor ever wanted to hear, especially when it came from their own body. "Dr. Kim!" Someone was shining a light down the shaft. "Don't move. We'll get you out." Taeho gritted his teeth. The pain was intense, radiating from his lower leg. As a doctor, he knew instantly, clean break of the tibia. Not compound, thankfully. The bone hadn't pierced the skin, but serious nonetheless. It took 15 minutes for the crew to safely extract him from the maintenance shaft. By then, the Viridian medical officer, Zirnak, had arrived. The alien doctor moved with quick, precise movements of all 6 limbs, compound eyes focusing and refocusing as they examined Taeho. "I will treat this human," Zirnak's translator announced, "as a gesture of goodwill between our species." Captain June looked concerned. "Dr. Kim is our chief medical officer. Perhaps he should direct his own treatment." Taeho shook his head, the pain making it hard to think clearly. "It's fine, Captain. I could use the help." He tried to smile through the pain. "Besides, how often do I get to be treated by an alien doctor? It's a professional opportunity." Captain June still looked uncertain. "At least have Nurse Hansol assist. She should observe any procedures." "Agreed," Taeho said, relieved. Hansol was his most experienced nurse and would know what to do if things went wrong. 4 Viridian medical assistants carefully lifted Taeho onto a floating stretcher. They moved him through the ship's corridors toward the Viridian shuttle and their medical facilities. Nurse Hansol, a petite woman with a calm demeanor even in emergencies, walked alongside. "How bad is it, doctor?" she asked quietly. "Clean break. Tibia. Nothing some bone setting and 6 weeks in a cast won't fix," Taeho replied, trying to sound more confident than he felt. Being treated by an alien doctor suddenly seemed less exciting and more concerning. The Viridian Medical Bay was both familiar and strange. Many tools resembled Earth medical equipment, but others were completely foreign. Everything had an organic, flowing design that contrasted with the utilitarian look of human medical facilities. "Your injury is serious," Zirnak stated while scanning Tejo's leg with a humming device. "The internal support structure is completely severed." "Yes, broken tibia," Tejo confirmed. "But if you set it properly and immobilize it, the bone will heal naturally." The translator was silent for a moment, then chittered as Zirnak responded. "Translation error. Please restate." Tejo spoke more slowly. "Human bones heal. They grow back together if properly aligned." The Viridian medic made a sound like water bubbling. The other Viridians in the room stopped what they were doing and turned toward him. "That is not possible," Zirnak's translator finally said. "Structural components once broken must be replaced." Tejo tried to sit up, wincing at the pain. "No. Human bodies repair bones. It's a natural process. We just need to make sure the ends are aligned correctly." Zirnak's large eyes blinked rapidly. "Perhaps the pain is causing confusion. Rest assured, we will remove the damaged component and install a superior synthetic replacement." Alarm shot through Tejo. "No removal. Human medicine doesn't work that way." Hansol stepped forward. "Dr. Kim is correct. Human bones naturally mend themselves when properly set." The Viridians all began speaking at once, their voices creating a cacophony of clicks and whistles that the translators couldn't keep up with. Zirnak turned to a cabinet and removed a vial of blue liquid. "This will ease your pain and prepare you for the procedure," the alien doctor said, approaching with what looked like an injection device. "Wait," Tejo protested. "I need to explain." But the sedative was already being administered. A cool sensation spread from his arm throughout his body. The last thing Tejo saw before losing consciousness was Nurse Hansol's worried face as she pulled out her tablet, frantically trying to show the Viridians something on the screen. His last coherent thought was that he should have stayed in the medical bay today, stomach issues and all. As darkness closed in, he heard Zirnak say, "Prepare the bone removal tools. We will show these humans how advanced Viridian medicine truly is." Nurse Hansol watched in growing alarm as the Viridian medical team prepared their surgical tools. These weren't instruments for setting a bone. They were clearly designed for amputation and replacement. The main surgical device looked like a precision saw with a glowing blue edge. "Stop!" she shouted, stepping between Dr. Kim's unconscious form and the alien medical team. "You cannot remove his bone." Zirnak tilted his elongated head, compound eyes reflecting the bright medical bay lights. "Your concern is noted, but unnecessary. We have performed thousands of structural component replacements. The synthetic bone will function better than the original." Hansol took a deep breath. The translation devices sometimes missed nuances, and she needed to be absolutely clear. "In humans, bones are living tissue," she explained slowly. "They have blood vessels and cells. They repair themselves naturally." The Viridian medical team exchanged rapid clicks and whistles among themselves. One of the junior medics approached with a scanning device and waved it over Dr. Kim's injured leg. "This cannot be correct," the junior medic said through the translator. "The scanner shows cellular activity within the solid structure." "Of course," Hansol said. "That's normal. Human bones are alive." Zirnak made a sound that the translator didn't catch, something like a gasp or perhaps a laugh of disbelief. The chief alien medic stepped closer to the scanner, examining the readings with all three sets of eyes focused intently on the display. "Alive? Your structural components are alive?" Zirnak's normally fluid movements became stiff. "This is not possible." Hansol reached for her medical tablet. She had to make them understand before they did something irreversible to Dr. Kim. She pulled up basic human anatomy diagrams and selected a time-lapse video showing bone healing. "Look," she said, holding up the tablet. "This is how human bones heal. It takes time, about 6 weeks for a clean break like Dr. Kim's, but the bone grows back together, often stronger than before." The entire Viridian medical team gathered around the small screen. The video showed the slow process of a fractured bone mending, cells multiplying, bone matrix forming, the gap gradually closing until the break disappeared. One of the junior medics dropped a tray of instruments with a loud clatter. Another backed away from Dr. Kim's bed as if suddenly afraid of the human patient. "This is regeneration," Zirnak said, the translator giving the word an ominous tone. "Your kind can regenerate body parts?" "It's just normal healing," Hansol explained, confused by their reaction. "All humans can do this. It's not regeneration. Like growing a new limb. The bone ends must be close together and properly aligned." The medical bay erupted in chittering sounds as the aliens communicated rapidly among themselves. Hansol couldn't follow their conversation, but their body language suggested shock, disbelief, and something that looked like fear. "Are there other structures in your body that repair themselves?" Zirnak finally asked. "Yes, most tissues repair to some extent. Skin heals completely. Muscles, tendons, and organs can repair damage. Even nerves can slowly regenerate under the right conditions. Our liver can regrow up to 70% if part is removed." With each example, the Viridians' reactions grew more pronounced. Two more junior medics backed away from the bed. One seemed to be running a sanitization protocol on its limbs. "No species we have encountered possesses such abilities," Zirnak said. The translator couldn't convey emotion, but the alien's body posture had changed dramatically. "In our species, and all others in the Galactic Coalition, damaged body parts are replaced, not repaired." Hansol finally understood their shock. "Your bones don't heal if they break?" "Our exoskeletal components are non-living material," Zirnak explained. "If damaged, they remain damaged. We developed medical replacement techniques thousands of years ago." A soft groan interrupted their conversation. Dr. Kim was beginning to wake up despite the sedative. Hansol moved quickly to his side. "Dr. Kim, can you hear me? You're in the Viridian medical bay. You broke your leg, but I've stopped them from removing the bone." Teho's eyes fluttered open. He looked disoriented but professionally alert as he assessed his surroundings. "Did you explain about bone healing?" he asked, his voice groggy. "Yes, and they're quite surprised." That was an understatement. The Viridian medical team was now treating Dr. Kim like he was some kind of medical miracle, or a potential biohazard. They had moved the scanning equipment to maximum sensitivity and were recording everything. "I need to contact Captain June," Hansol said. "This has become a diplomatic situation." Teho nodded weakly. "Good idea. Ask her to bring Communications Officer Mireille. We need someone who understands cultural miscommunications." While Hansol made the call, Zirnak cautiously approached Dr. Kim again. "Your nurse has shown us something remarkable," the alien medic said. "If you permit, we would like to document your healing process. Such biological self-repair is unknown among spacefaring species." Teho managed a pained smile. "Of course. But first, could you please set the bone properly and put it in a cast? The longer we wait, the more complicated the healing process becomes." Zirnak seemed confused. "A cast?" "A hard shell around the limb to immobilize it while the bone heals. We can make one from fiberglass or similar material." The alien medic made that bubbling sound again, perhaps the Viridian equivalent of laughter. "We have materials far superior to fiberglass. We can create a custom-fitted support structure that will allow for proper alignment while still permitting us to scan the healing process." 20 minutes later, Captain June and Communications Officer Mireille arrived to find Dr. Kim's leg encased in a transparent, slightly glowing device that looked nothing like a traditional cast. The Viridian medical team was hovering around him, recording data and speaking excitedly among themselves. "What happened?" Captain June asked, taking in the scene with a mixture of concern and confusion. "Cultural misunderstanding," Teho said, looking more comfortable now that his leg was properly set. "They don't heal naturally. No species they've met does. They thought they needed to amputate my leg and replace the bone with a synthetic one." Mireille's eyes widened. "That would have been a diplomatic disaster." Fortunately, Nurse Hansol stopped them in time. Teho said, nodding gratefully toward her. Now they're fascinated by our ability to heal broken bones. Fascinated might be an understatement, Hansol said quietly. They're acting like we're some kind of biological marvel. One of them asked me if we're immortal. Captain June frowned. I need to inform Earth Command about this development. What seems ordinary to us could have significant implications for interspecies relations. As they spoke, Ambassador Gilsep entered the medical bay, followed by several high-ranking Viridians. They all moved directly to Dr. Kim's bedside, their postures showing intense interest. We have been informed of your remarkable biological capabilities, the ambassador said through the translator. Our Science Council has requested an emergency meeting. This changes our understanding of your species significantly. Teho glanced at Captain June, suddenly understanding that his broken leg had accidentally become the center of their first diplomatic crisis, and possibly their greatest opportunity. I'm happy to answer any questions, Dr. Kim said. Once I've had some pain medication that's compatible with human biology. Ambassador Gilsep bowed slightly. Of course. And perhaps while you recover you could tell us, what other surprising abilities do humans possess? 3 days after Dr. Kim's accident, the Earth in Harmony buzzed with unusual activity. Viridian officials moved through the ship's corridors, their tall blue forms drawing curious glances from the human crew. Most headed to the medical bay where Dr. Kim was recovering, his right leg encased in the transparent Viridian cast. Another visitor, Doctor, Nurse Hansol announced as she entered his temporary quarters. This one says he's from their science academy. Teho sighed and put down his tablet. How many does this make today? 12, Hansol said with a small smile. And it's only lunchtime. The door slid open again, admitting a Viridian with darker blue skin and elaborate markings on its upper limbs. Captain June accompanied the visitor, looking both pleased and slightly concerned. Dr. Kim, may I present Chief Scientist Lon Ter of the Viridian Science Academy, Captain June said formally. He has traveled from their homeworld specifically to meet you. The Viridian scientist bowed deeply, all 6 limbs moving in a complex pattern. It is an honor to meet the human with the remarkable healing abilities, the translator conveyed. Teho tried not to show his frustration. Thank you, but I must clarify again. I am not special among humans. All members of my species heal broken bones naturally. Lon Ter's compound eyes blinked rapidly. Yes, so we have been told. I hope to witness this remarkable process myself, and perhaps ask some questions. Captain June gave Teho an encouraging nod. They had discussed how important these interactions were for human-Viridian relations. I'm happy to help, Teho said, gesturing to a chair designed for Viridian anatomy. What would you like to know? For the next hour, the scientist asked detailed questions about human healing. How quickly did different bones mend? Did healing rates vary with age? Could humans regrow fingers or limbs? Each answer seemed to fascinate the Viridian more. Remarkable, Lon Ter said after Teho explained how bone marrow produces blood cells. Your structural support system also creates your life-carrying fluid. The efficiency is astounding. After the scientist left, Captain June remained behind. You've become quite the celebrity, she said, sitting beside Teho's bed. The Viridians can't stop talking about human healing. Teho adjusted his position, wincing slightly. It's exhausting being treated like a medical marvel for something so basic, but I understand it's important. More important than you might realize, June said seriously. Communications Officer Mireille has been monitoring Viridian transmissions with their permission, of course. News about human regenerative abilities has spread across their entire planet. Their media is calling us the healing ones, or sometimes the self-repairing people. Teho laughed, then stopped when he saw Captain June wasn't smiling. This is changing the whole diplomatic mission, she continued. Originally, they viewed us as interesting but primitive newcomers. Now they're approaching us with something close to reverence or fear. Fear? Of broken bones healing? Captain June shook her head. Try to understand their perspective. In their experience, living things with damaged parts stay damaged unless They receive technological intervention. To them, we might as well be claiming we can perform magic. In the ship's mess hall, Communications Officer Mireille sat with Security Chief Do-hyun, watching a small group of Viridian engineers observing human crew members eating lunch. They've been staring for 20 minutes, Do-hyun muttered. It's making everyone uncomfortable. Mireille took a sip of her coffee. They're fascinated by everything we do now. One of them asked me yesterday if I would let them scan a paper cut healing. Did you agree? Of course, diplomatic relations and all that. She wiggled her finger, showing a small bandage. They're checking it every 4 hours and acting amazed that it's already forming new skin. Security Chief Do-hyun frowned. I don't like how this is shifting the power dynamic. They're treating us like we're some kind of supernatural beings. Is that a bad thing? Unexpected things make people nervous. Nervous people sometimes make bad decisions. A junior officer approached their table. Excuse me, Officer Mireille. There's a message for you from the Viridian Communications Hub. They're requesting access to our medical database. Mireille and Do-hyun exchanged concerned glances. Tell them we'll need to discuss any data sharing with Captain June first, Mireille said. As the junior officer left, she turned back to Do-hyun. See what I mean? Yesterday they wanted cultural exchange. Today they want our medical records. The Seo. Captain needs to establish some boundaries, Do-hyun said, lowering his voice. Before they start asking for blood samples. Back in the medical bay, Dr. Kim was meeting with Zirnak, who had shifted from initial panic to intense scientific curiosity. The Viridian medic had brought a holographic display showing detailed scans of Taeho's healing bone. 3 days, Zirnak said, pointing to the glowing blue image. In just 3 days we can measure new cell growth at the break site. Your body is producing specialized cells that are building a bridge between the bone ends. Callus formation, Taeho explained. It's the first stage of bone healing. It will eventually harden and remodel into normal bone tissue. Zirnak made a sound that the translator didn't catch, a noise Taeho was beginning to recognize as amazement. Have already published preliminary findings to our scientific community, the alien doctor said. My report has been accessed over 2 million times. I am now considered the leading expert on human biology in our star system. Taeho shifted uncomfortably. I'm glad it's advancing your career, but I hope the report makes clear that this is normal for humans. Of course, Zirnak said, though something in the alien's posture suggested uncertainty. Though many find it difficult to believe that such abilities are common. The door slid open and Nurse Hansol entered with Captain June and Ambassador Gilsep. Dr. Kim, the ambassador began without preamble. Our High Council has authorized me to present a formal proposal to your captain. We wish to establish a permanent medical research exchange between our peoples. Taeho glanced at Captain June, who nodded slightly. The Viridians are offering advanced technology, including improved faster-than-light drive systems, in exchange for studying human healing processes, she explained. They believe they might adapt this knowledge to help their own kind. We find your species fascinating, Ambassador Gilsep continued. For generations, we have used technology to replace damaged body parts. The concept of natural repair opens new possibilities for our medical science. Nurse Hansol, who had been checking Dr. Kim's vital signs, looked up with concern. You want to study us? Like specimens? Ambassador Gilsep's translator hesitated, perhaps searching for diplomatic phrasing. As honored research partners, your ability to heal is precious. It could benefit many species across known space. Captain June stepped forward. We appreciate your interest, Ambassador. This would require careful consideration and approval from Earth government. We would need clear parameters about what such research would involve. Of course, the ambassador agreed quickly. But perhaps Dr. Kim could share preliminary thoughts? As your medical authority? All eyes turned to Taeho. He felt the weight of the moment. A simple broken leg had somehow become the center of interspecies diplomacy. I believe sharing medical knowledge could benefit both our species, he said carefully. But I agree with Captain June. We would need clear boundaries and equal exchange. We're not research subjects. We're potential partners. Ambassador Gilsep's posture shifted in what Tae-ho was learning to recognize as agreement. Well stated, Doctor. Until formal arrangements can be made, would you permit Dr. Zirnak to continue documenting your healing process? It would be valuable baseline data. That seems reasonable, Tae-ho said, glancing at Captain June for confirmation. After the Viridians left, Captain June stayed behind. You know they think we're hiding something, she said quietly. They can't believe our healing ability is just ordinary biology. What do they think it is? Tae-ho asked. Advanced technology, genetic engineering, maybe even something spiritual. Captain June smiled slightly. One of their junior scientists asked Officer Mirai if humans were immortal. Tae-ho laughed. If only they knew how fragile we really are. Maybe, Captain June said thoughtfully. But sometimes the most ordinary things about us can seem extraordinary from another perspective. Your broken leg might just have broken the ice between our species in ways we never expected. 2 weeks after Dr. Kim's accident, the medical bay of the Earth in Harmony had been transformed. Viridian scanning equipment lined the walls, all focused on Dr. Kim's healing leg. The transparent cast glowed softly as it collected data on the bone-knitting process happening inside. Remarkable progress, Zirnak said, studying the latest scans. The Viridian doctor had practically moved into the human ship's medical bay. The callus formation is complete, and bone remodeling has begun. Your body is actually making the break site stronger than the surrounding bone. Tae-ho nodded, used to the alien's excitement by now. That's normal. The new bone often forms with greater density at the fracture site. In a few months, you won't even be able to tell it was broken. Zirnak made the bubbling sound that Tae-ho now recognized as the Viridian equivalent of amazed laughter. In our species, a broken support structure remains a permanent weakness, even with the best synthetic replacements. Nurse Hansol entered, carrying Tae-ho's lunch tray. She had become an unofficial cultural ambassador, patiently explaining human biology to the steady stream of Viridian visitors. Dr. Kim needs to eat, she told Zirnak firmly. And rest. Too many scans and questions will slow his healing. Though, the translator couldn't convey tone. Zirnak's posture showed something like embarrassment. Of course, forgive my enthusiasm, I will return later. After the alien doctor left, Hansol helped Tae-ho sit up more comfortably. How are you really feeling? She asked, her professional concern mixed with genuine care. Better each day, Tae-ho said, adjusting his position. The Viridian pain management in this cast works wonderfully, but I'm tired of being a medical curiosity. Hansol smiled sympathetically. You're more than that now. You're a diplomatic asset. Captain June says the Viridians have upgraded our status in their diplomatic records from emerging species to advanced biological civilization. Tae-ho laughed. All because we can heal a broken bone? What would they think if they knew about some of our medical advancements? That's what the captain wants to discuss with you, Hansol said, checking his vital signs. She's coming by later with a proposal from the Viridian Science Council. Captain June arrived that afternoon, accompanied by communications officer Mirai and the Viridian ambassador Gilsep. The captain looked both excited and concerned. A combination Tae-ho was learning meant diplomatic complications. Dr. Kim, she greeted him formally, suggesting this was an official visit. How are you feeling today? Well enough to have a serious conversation, I think, Tae-ho replied, sitting straighter in his bed. Ambassador Gilsep stepped forward, all 6 limbs moving in the elaborate greeting pattern of Viridian formal diplomacy. Honored healer, the ambassador began, using a title that made Tae-ho uncomfortable. The High Science Council of Viridia has prepared a comprehensive research proposal for your captain's consideration. Mirai handed Captain June a tablet, which the captain then passed to Tae-ho. On the screen was a detailed document translated into English. The title read, Collaborative Study of Human Regenerative Processes, a Proposal for Medical Exchange. They want to establish a permanent medical research facility, Captain June explained as Tae-ho scanned the document. Half on Earth, half on Viridia. They're offering significant technological exchange, faster than light drives, energy production, systems and materials science advancements. Teho looked up in surprise. All this for studying how we heal? Ambassador Gilsep's translator couldn't convey emotion, but his posture showed intensity. What you consider ordinary, we consider revolutionary. Our medical science has focused for millennia on replacement rather than repair. The ability to stimulate natural healing could transform medicine across known space. Teho continued reading, his medical training helping him understand the implications. The Viridians wanted to study everything, not just bone healing, but all human regenerative processes, skin healing, liver regeneration, muscle repair, immune responses. This is extensive, he said finally. Almost too extensive. It would require hundreds of human volunteers, tissue samples, detailed genetic analysis. Mireille nodded. That's our concern as well. The technology they're offering is genuinely valuable. It would advance Earth's capabilities by decades, but the level of access they're requesting, they think we're hiding something, Captain June said directly. They can't believe this is just how our biology works. Ambassador Gilsep's translator made a small clicking sound as he responded. Not hiding, Captain, but perhaps not fully appreciating. What seems ordinary to humans appears miraculous to us. We have met 12 other spacefaring species and none possess such natural repair capabilities. A thought occurred to Teho. What happens when a Viridian child breaks a bone? The ambassador's posture shifted, showing what Teho had learned to recognize as discomfort. It is difficult. Before modern medicine, such injuries often meant permanent disability. Even now, replacements for the young must be upgraded repeatedly as they grow. It is a challenging process. The room fell silent as the humans considered this. Something they took for granted, the natural healing of injuries, represented an almost unimaginable capability to the Viridians. I understand your interest, Teho said finally. But I have concerns about being research specimens rather than partners. Any agreement would need careful ethical boundaries. Captain June nodded. Exactly our position. We appreciate the generous technology exchange offer, but we need to ensure human subjects are treated with appropriate dignity and care. Ambassador Gilsep made a gesture that the humans had learned meant agreement. Of course, we suggest starting small, perhaps a joint research team studying your healing process, Doctor, as a model for future collaboration. I can support that, Teho said, glancing at Captain June for approval. She nodded slightly. But I want to be clear. What you'll learn is simply human biology. There's no secret technology or special ability involved. Perhaps, the ambassador said, his translator conveying the neutral tone. Or perhaps your species has evolved something truly unique in the galaxy. Either way, there is much we can learn from each other. After the ambassador left, Captain June stayed behind with Mireille. Well handled, Doctor, the captain said. Earth Command is interested in their technology, but concerned about their fascination with us. Mireille checked that the door was closed before speaking. Security reports that Viridian crew members have been requesting unusual access across the ship. They're observing everything. How we eat, exercise, even how minor scratches and bruises heal. Security Chief Du-hyun is worried they're cataloging our biological capabilities too thoroughly. They're scientists encountering something new, Teho said. Their curiosity is natural. Maybe, Captain June replied, not entirely convinced. But we need to be careful. What seems like scientific curiosity could become something else if they decide human biology gives us too much of an advantage. An advantage for what? Teho asked. The captain's expression was serious. That's exactly what we need to find out. As they talked, Zirnak appeared at the door, carrying a new scanning device. Forgive the interruption, the alien medic said. But we've developed an enhanced imaging system that can track cellular activity in real time. With your permission, Doctor. Teho sighed but nodded his agreement. As Zirnak set up the device, the doctor wondered what other surprises this diplomatic mission might hold, all because of a simple broken bone and the natural healing process he had always taken for granted. Captain June caught his eye and smiled slightly. In that moment, They both understood that the most powerful discoveries often came from the most unexpected places, even from inside their own bodies. 4 weeks after Dr. Kim's accident, the time had come to remove the special Viridian cast. The medical bay was crowded with observers, not just the medical team, but also high-ranking Viridian officials and several members of the Earth and Harmony's command staff. "I didn't expect such an audience for a simple cast removal," Taeho said quietly to Nurse Hansol as she helped him prepare. "Nothing is simple anymore when it comes to human biology," she replied with a small smile. "The Viridians have been waiting for this day like it's a major scientific breakthrough." Zirnak approached, carrying a small device. The Viridian doctor had changed over the past month. What began as panic had transformed into scientific enthusiasm, then deep respect. Taeho now considered the alien a colleague rather than just an observer. "Are you ready, Dr. Kim?" Zirnak asked through the translator. Taeho nodded. "Let's see how well I've healed." Zirnak activated the device, and the transparent cast around Taeho's leg glowed briefly before separating along invisible seams. The alien medic carefully removed it, revealing Taeho's leg beneath. The skin was slightly pale from being covered, but otherwise normal. A murmur ran through the Viridian observers. One of them was recording the procedure with multiple imaging devices. "Can you move your foot?" Zirnak asked. Taeho slowly rotated his ankle and wiggled his toes. There was some stiffness but no pain. "The bone has healed sufficiently," Zirnak announced, showing the final scans on a large display. "The break site is now stronger than the surrounding bone tissue, just as Dr. Kim predicted. Complete healing will continue for several more weeks, but the structural integrity is already restored." Ambassador Gilsep stepped forward. "This is truly remarkable. 4 weeks ago, there was a complete separation in the support structure. Now there is continuous, living bone. And this is normal for humans." "Completely normal," Taeho confirmed, carefully standing with Hansol's support. His leg felt weak from disuse, but the bone itself was solid. "With some physical therapy to rebuild muscle strength, I'll be back to full duty within a couple of weeks." The Viridians exchanged glances and quiet clicks that their translators didn't catch. Taeho had learned enough about their body language to recognize a mixture of amazement and something else, perhaps concern. "Thank you for allowing us to document your healing process," Ambassador Gilsep said formally. "This has been most educational. Captain June, might we speak privately?" "There are new developments I must share." Captain June looked surprised but nodded. "Of course, we can use the conference room." As they left, Taeho began testing his weight on the healed leg, while Hansol watched carefully. "Take it slowly," she cautioned. "The bone is solid, but your muscles need time to rebuild." "I know," Taeho said, wincing slightly at the stiffness. "But it feels good to stand on both feet again." Zirnak observed with all 3 sets of eyes focused intently. "Among my people, a broken support structure means permanent alteration. Even with our best technology, the replacement is never as good as the original. You humans simply repair yourselves. It is still difficult to fully comprehend." In the conference room, Captain June sat across from Ambassador Gilsep and 2 Viridian military officials who had arrived recently on a small warship. The atmosphere was tense. "What's this about, Ambassador?" Captain June asked directly. "These don't look like scientists." "They are not," Gilsep confirmed. "They are members of our Defense Council. They bring concerning news that affects both our species." One of the military Viridians, wearing ornate armor on its middle limbs, activated a holographic display showing a star map. "This is the Morkith Empire," the military official stated through the translator. "They occupy 17 star systems along our outer border. They are aggressive, expansionist, and have subjugated 2 peaceful species in the past decade." Captain June studied the map carefully. "And they are a threat to Viridia?" "Yes. Our intelligence indicates they are preparing for further expansion. Our scientists believe their next target will be either Viridia or the Telluran system." "I'm sorry to hear that," Captain June said sincerely. "But what does this have to do with Earth? We're new to interstellar relations, We're hardly in a position to help with military matters." Ambassador Gilsep's posture shifted to what Captain June had learned indicated earnestness. "When we first encountered your ship, we questioned the value of alliance with your kind. Your technology is less advanced than ours, and your presence in space is limited." The military official continued. "But now we understand something crucial about humans. You possess remarkable resilience. You heal, you adapt, you endure damage and become stronger." Captain June's eyes narrowed slightly. "You're interested in our biology as a military advantage?" "As a survival advantage," Ambassador Gilsep corrected. "The Morcath are physically powerful and technologically advanced, but they have the same limitation as most species. They cannot repair significant physical damage. In any conflict, they must replace their wounded rather than heal them." The second military official spoke for the first time. "We believe a human-Viridian alliance would create a powerful deterrent. Your biological resilience combined with our technology would make conquest too costly for the Morcath to attempt." Captain June sat back, considering the implications. "So you don't just want to study us for medical knowledge, you want a military alliance." "A mutual defense pact," Ambassador Gilsep said. "We offer faster-than-light technology, energy systems, and materials science. You offer your unique biological perspective and military cooperation." Back in the medical bay, Dr. Kim was walking slowly around the room, testing his healing leg, when Security Chief Do Hyun entered. "Doctor, how's the leg?" Do Hyun asked, but his expression suggested he hadn't come to discuss Taeho's health. "Healing well," Taeho replied. "Is something wrong? You look concerned." Do Hyun glanced at the Viridian medical staff, then lowered his voice. "The captain called an emergency briefing in 30 minutes. The Viridians have just revealed there's an aggressive species at the edge of their territory. Apparently, our ability to heal broken bones has suddenly made us valuable potential allies." Taeho raised his eyebrows. "From medical curiosity to military asset in 4 weeks, that's quite a promotion." "The captain wants you there," Do Hyun continued. "You understand their medical perspective better than anyone else on board." As Do Hyun left, Zirnak approached again. "You are walking well for someone who had a complete structural failure so recently." "Thank you," Taeho said. "I understand your military leaders are meeting with our captain." Zirnak's posture changed subtly. "Yes, the Morcath threat concerns us all. When I first treated you, I thought humans were fragile. Now I understand you are anything but." "What do you mean?" "The Morcath replace their injured warriors with new ones. Viridians replace damaged body parts with synthetic versions. But humans—" Zirnak paused, as if searching for the right words. "Humans rebuild themselves. You break, but you mend stronger than before. In space, where danger is constant, this may be your greatest advantage." Taeho considered this perspective. "It's just biology to us." "Perhaps," Zirnak said. "But what is ordinary to one species can be extraordinary to another. Your broken leg may have just secured your species' place among the stars." Later that evening, after the briefing concluded, Captain June found Dr. Kim on the observation deck looking out at the stars. His newly healed leg was propped up as a precaution. "So," Taeho said as she joined him, "we accidentally discovered that our ability to heal is a strategic advantage in interstellar politics." Captain June nodded. "Earth Command has approved preliminary discussions for a defense agreement. The Viridians seem genuinely impressed and relieved to have us as potential allies." "All because I fell down a maintenance shaft," Taeho said, with a slight smile. "All because you're human," Captain June corrected. "With human strengths and human frailties." They both looked out at the stars, thinking about the unexpected ways their ordinary human biology had changed their place in the galaxy. "I never thought my medical training would be relevant to interstellar diplomacy," Taeho said finally. "That's the beauty of exploration," Captain June replied. "We never know which of our qualities will matter most when we meet new civilizations. Sometimes our greatest strength is simply being human." As the Earth in Harmony prepared for its journey home, Carrying news of both a scientific exchange and a defense pact with the Viridians, Dr. Kim reflected on how a simple broken bone had created humanity's first interstellar alliance, not through impressive weapons or advanced technology, but through the remarkable ordinary ability of human bones to knit themselves back together. The end.